So let's talk about today's guest. Who do you have on today?
I have Greg Millette.
Okay, tell us a little bit about Greg.
He is the technical director of Schenectady Today with Ann Perillo, and also he is the producer of Near and Far.
Cool.
I'm very interested in learning more about him. I tried to do some research on him. He seems like a very interesting and extremely intelligent person, so I can't wait to speak with him.
Awesome. And I have on City Council member, big deal for me today,
yeah.
Denise Brucker. So we're going to ask her all sorts of questions. We're going to have fun with her. And I have a second segment with John Kring. He's an independent filmmaker and director. So we're going to talk to him as well.
Nice.
So let's get to it. First, we'll go to a clip from Denise Brucker, 1999, hosting the Schenectady Today show. And I'll be back here to interview her. So don't go anywhere. We will be back. Cool.
Yeah.
Welcome to Schenectady Today. We have a great show for you today. Today is Friday, April 2nd, weekend before the holidays. I'd like to wish everyone a happy holiday, happy Passover, happy Easter. And I'm here this morning with Susan Phillip. Susan is from the Albany-Tula Alliance, and it's a very interesting, very exciting happening going on April 10th. It's called the 1999 A Space Odyssey, and Tula is the sister city for Albany in the Capital District, and Susan will certainly clue you in more about that. But on April 10th at the Albany International Airport, there's going to be 2 Russian cosmonauts there from Tula. There'll also be original art featured in a silent auction from Russian children, as well as an ensemble from Tula. And I'd like to introduce you now to Susan Phillip. Susan, thank you very much for being here today.
Pleasure to be here.
Great to have you. Very exciting about this, but I think we should probably try and start from the beginning. And could you tell us how the Albany-Tula Alliance began, or got its inception?
It started in the early 1990s when the Cold War was ending, and when in the first instance the Soviet Union was literally falling apart. Mm-hmm. As people may recall, there was a lot of press on the fact that Russians were literally going hungry. It's cold, winter was coming on, and a group of people in the Capital District said, we really have to do something. Mm-hmm. And with that very American spirit of let's help because we have a lot of things and have been blessed with a lot, mm-hmm. It really began. Tom Whalen was mayor at the time,
okay.
And Charlotte Buchanan, a well-known person in the Capital District.
Hi, welcome back. You're watching Variety with John and Anna. I'm John Cancio. Next on, I'm very excited to have on Councilwoman. Is that proper to say? Councilwoman?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. It's Schenectady City Council member Denise Brucker. Thank you so
John,
much
nice to
for
see you.
coming
Thank you for
on.
having me.
I just want to say I interviewed you when I was, I think, 12 or 13 down at the SAC station. And you were nice enough to allow me to interview you at such a young age, and I just want to thank you for that. And I don't know if you remember this, but on the city council, you mentioned at one of the meetings, you mentioned that more kids should be. You did.
Yep.
You mentioned that more kids should be into positive things, like I was doing the mm-hmm. show. And that made me feel good at a young age. So that was a very nice thing you did for me. So I do want to thank you for that.
I remember that now that you mention it, because I remember being so taken with you at such a very young age that you had the presence and the poise and the composure to get out there in front of a camera and do what you did. So
well, thank you. I mean, that was
one of my heroes at that young age.
Oh. Well, that was very encouraging at that time, so I really appreciate that. Now, we looked at a clip of you hosting mm-hmm. Schenectady Today, so how did that make you feel to watch that? After, I mean, it's been a long time, 1999.
It was, 11 years. Makes me feel a little old. Only kidding. But no, it was pretty good back then. Maybe need a haircut, but other than that, it was interesting. You asked me though, I don't remember. I remember the woman I interviewed. I remember that at that time, I think Schenectady International Airport had just come to be or had just opened. So I think I was talking to her about the artwork that was in there. But it was fun.
And you hosted Schenectady Today several times back then.
Yeah.
And you were very involved with public access. And here you are today doing this interview. So,
yeah, it's been a while.
Why do you support public access so much?
Public access is so important to the community. The expansion of public access, so people can see what's going on. I mean, we have the tapings of the council meetings, of all the, and I think SAC in Schenectady City Council was probably the first government municipalities to be taped or to be broadcast. Mm-hmm. And out of that came Rotterdam, Niskayuna, a lot of other people, or a lot of other entities began to do that. So it's important for those people who can't get out to the meetings to be able to see it. But all the other shows and the ability for young people and people like you way back when to showcase their talents and to be creative. So it touches many, many different areas.
It was a forum for myself as
Yeah.
a young person to stay out of trouble and
Okay.
do something that I really enjoyed doing. So I think I agree with you, public access is important. And I want to say that we are one of the few cities that actually has a studio that you can go into and film shows. I mean, a lot of
Exactly.
cities don't have that. They just accept tapes.
Mm-hmm.
So it is important that we are able to do this. So you're a Schenectady City Council member. How long have you been a member of the City Council?
I was elected in 1997 and served 3 terms, and then decided to go to graduate school, so decided to step out for a while. Although my second year of graduate school, one of the city council members at the time needed to resign because she was moving to another state. It was around budget time, so I wanted to come back and just help with the budget.
So
but
you left
never
for-
left. I left for about a year and a half, I think, and
So you left
drew me
during that
back in,
time
like
to go
they
back
say.
to school? Is that what you did?
I was working full time, and I was also going to school every week for 4 hours a night. So I wanted to have some time to really devote and finally get my master's degree, which I finally did. And
So you went and you were able to accomplish some things on
Yeah,
your time.
absolutely,
So you've
absolutely.
been total, how many years you say? 12?
I'd say about 12 years.
About 12
yeah.
years. What's it been like all these years in general? I know that's a general question.
You know,
Overall.
John, for me personally, it's been a really good learning experience. I've been able to meet a lot of people. I think it's helped me personally and professionally be a little bit more analytical about the way I look at things. And really, it really shows you that there are, at the very least, 2 sides to every story, and probably sometimes 10 or 20 sides with different shades in between. But having lived in the city my whole life and having been able to witness the kind of resurgence and renaissance of the downtown area, and also to recognize all the different people who are involved in everything that goes along with it. It's not just city government, but it's a lot of volunteer folks out there who want to share in and want to, put forth their talents. So it's been a really good experience in many ways.
How did you get involved with politics?
I had a friend that I used to work with that was very involved with politics. In fact, it was Gary McCarthy.
Okay.
And he and I used to work together. And when, I think in 1996, there became a seat available on the council due to an election, someone get elected to, I can't remember if it was whether someone left to go to the county ledge or whatever, but there was an opening. And Gary encouraged me to at least take an interview for it, just try it. Saying to him, what is it like to be in politics? Because I never really was involved. I mean, certainly I voted, my family voted, but it wasn't something that I really pursued as an outside interest. But at the time, I had served on a lot of different boards and worked with the Domestic Violence Board, the YWCA, several other boards, and so became very interested in a lot of aspects of the community. And Gary kind of convinced me and talked to me that if you were interested in doing these kinds of things, just think what you can do if you're an advocate for residents of the city of Schenectady. So I became interested in that manner, and then, one step leads to another, and the next thing you know, you're
It just
running
happens,
for office,
right?
and then you're in office, and you're learning as you go along. You're learning about campaigns, you're learning about the individuals that you're campaigning with. You're learning so much about the city and the neighborhoods because you're out campaigning door to door. So it was a good experience.
So step by step you got to that process.
Yes.
And did you know you were a Democrat all that time? Did you keep up on politics? Did you know I'm a Democrat?
I always, even before I was of voting age, always kind of subscribed to democratic principles. One of my big heroes was Roosevelt, and the New Deal and his wife and all the things that they did. Certainly a big fan of the Kennedy. So yeah, I think I did know that. Sometimes you know it without even really knowing it.
Okay, and you work closely with Mayor Stratton now.
I do.
You do. Okay, how do you think Mayor Stratton's doing as the mayor?
I think Mayor Stratton's doing a really good job. He had a very difficult office to walk into. And not just the office, but we are a city that is aging. We are a city that's losing population. We are a city that certainly doesn't have the resources and businesses that we once had that made this a really vibrant city and a vibrant downtown. But slowly but surely, it's starting to come back. But one of the reasons for the downtown resurgence and things like that is we really needed to take another look at what's going to bring people downtown. Years ago, and you'll hear many of us talk that are, over the age of 40 about, I remember downtown on Thursday nights when we used to go down there and shop, and the streets would be full of people. But we have to remember, in all downtowns, that's how people shopped.
Right.
And then the malls came in. And it's a totally different thing. It's very similar to the way you can look at it as an analogy in the way we communicate. People used to just communicate by telephone. Most people now don't even have landlines or phones in their home. It's a cell phone, it's texting. So things change over the years, and you have to be willing to take those changes and move with them. And sometimes those changes appear to leave a void before the fact that you can change it with something else and get everyone used to that idea. So I think, kind of went off on a tangent there, but
I was going to say that okay,
his, his charge, his responsibility was trying to bring our city and our government and our administration and all of the neighborhoods up into a change period. And it's difficult, and it doesn't happen over a period of 5 or 10 years. I mean, it took a very long time for even some of our neighborhoods to get to the point where they are right now, and some of them in very poor condition. And it's going to take that much longer to breathe some new life into them. And I'm not even really sure what that strategy looks like, because again, I think throughout the country, urban areas are all experiencing a lot of what we're experiencing in the city of Schenectady. The crime, the abandonment of homes, people moving out to suburbs. There's not a lot of homeowners coming back into the city, and homeowners are what drive taxes. If you have a lot of people who live in the city and own a home and pay taxes, you do really well. And it becomes a double-edged sword, because if you don't live in the city and you don't own a home, your taxes end up being really high because you only have a few people contributing to that tax base.